Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy. The Museum of Indigenous Peoples, located in Prescott, Arizona, features exhibits and works from American Indian art and culture and instills understanding and respect for the indigenous cultures of the Southwest. And they do it extremely well. On the phone with us today is Dustin Hughes Lopez, Tribal and Community Resource Cultivator. Dustin, welcome to Native Talk Arizona.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Super excited to learn more. But before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and what do you do at the museum?
So I'm actually a retired firefighter, and I've had my own graphic design business for the past 20 years. And in that 20 years, it's connected me with a lot of people and organizations, initiatives, kind of like the museum that we're going to be talking about. Those are things I never knew existed. And I found myself donating time and even just elevating their graphic design roles and learning about their challenges. A lot of those challenges just kind of helped create space and indigenize space for all natives. And that passion kind of started to grow and create a fulfillment for me. So I started using my graphic design skill set, if you will, to amplify the voices of the organizations, some of the initiatives, and really just becoming a problem solver for some of the challenges that we're facing, which is kind of what landed my current position at the museum. It's kind of a unique position. It's something that just started this year, and it's the tribal community cultivator. Basically, I cultivate resources, and the main goal is to raise funding for the new chapter of the museum, which is a cultural center.
Very cool. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So you were a firefighter, you said for 20 years.
Yeah.
And why'd you end up leaving firefighting?
So I was actually a graphic designer for 20 years, and I was a firefighter for about 6 years, and COVID just about took my life, and it wasn't worth it being away from my family and all the things that I was going through, losing family, but also just losing members of the fire service and friends. So I decided to step away, and this December will be 3 years.
Wow. I'm sorry that you lost family members, and I am sure COVID was hard. And I'm glad you ended up at the museum. So that's something really positive. And it sounds like you're doing a lot. And then so you were a graphic designer, but you're still doing that, it sounds like, for the museum, correct? And helping the artists?
Kind of, yeah. I just kind of utilize that talent and experience to amplify the voice for the museum, but even just like the museum's initiatives, like the building fund that we're trying to create, like a campaign for, so that way people are aware, and just kind of helping the museum with a fresh look. And they changed the name in 2020, and they haven't really had much of a branding guide. So using my background to help facilitate that is one of the strengths, but also just kind of, branding the campaign and just elevating their whole image in all different mediums.
Let's talk about the actual Museum of Indigenous Peoples. Where is it?
Yeah.
I know you said Prescott. I don't know where in Prescott. When and why did it open? How long has it been around? What can you tell me about it?
Yeah, so there's actually a long history. It's been there since, it's been at the same place since 1935. And it was actually a society of white men who called themselves the Smoke-Eye. A lot of the older Native peoples who know about it are familiar with the negative narrative where they were misappropriating and stealing our dances and songs and providing that as a source of entertainment in the Prescott area, where they gained a lot of money and ultimately landed them money to create the museum. So there's 3 buildings on the campus, and the building was built in 1935 from that, and it's based off of the Hopi tribe and their structures. But in 1991, Hopi, Navajo, and a couple other tribes came in and basically said this needs to stop immediately, and they won. So since then, The formerly Smoke Eye Museum is what it was called. Uh, it has now been changed in 2020 to the Museum of Indigenous People, trying to just, I don't want to say erase the narrative, but just move on to the next chapter. And it's really a great underdog story because, for example, the board, there's 10 members, so 60% of our board is actually Native now. And Barbara is the first Indigenous woman of the board for our president. And then when you talk about our staff, there's four of us total, and three of us are Native. So in a way, it's kind of like, there's this culture climate of like reclaiming everything, our land, our language, and now we're reclaiming our narrative in the museum, specifically this one, to tell the correct stories and offer the correct performances, and really just taking control of the narrative and making sure that it's accurate for all people.
It's a good story that you've taken it back and that you're doing some great things. So, when I was checking out all the research on the museum and a beautiful website, by the way, I know you have different collections. So, what's in the museum? And then I know you've got the special exhibition Res Dogs. Can you give us more information on like the regular exhibitions and then I'm assuming the special one, the Res Dogs one?
So the museum is really neat. Our regular collection that is displayed around the perimeter of the inside of the building, it features baskets and pottery from like the 1800s, early 1900s. There's all sorts of textiles and other relics from the surrounding area. And a lot of that is part due to the people in the area who were digging stuff up in their backyard and they found whatever, and then they donated it to the museum because we're really the only museum dedicated to the indigenous people in central Arizona. Again, there's so much pottery, and it's not even a half of what we actually have that's being displayed. Um, the exhibit itself is actually in the center of the museum, and that changes about twice a year. And the Res Dog is not about the show, but it's actually just shedding light on what's really happening with reservation dogs on the res, but like the things that we come in with, like when they're getting hit by the cars, their malnutrition, and how many reservation dogs go to these centers where they can get adopted and actually have a life, a lot of rescues. And so it's really just shedding light on what's happening on the reservation. And it's definitely a conversation that a lot of people don't talk about. So being able to facilitate that is a really neat thing. And unfortunately, it's actually only going to be up for another few weeks. So the middle of September is when Res Dogs is coming down. So anybody that's interested, examining the relationship between humans and canines on the res, also like just organizations that help with the homeless dogs in those communities. It's a really neat exhibit to come check out.
I saw the photos and it looked really, really interesting. So once Res Dogs is done, then is the upcoming exhibit Red Spirit Honoring the Past, Rising to the Future the next one that's coming in?
Yes, that's correct. Red Spirit is the next exhibit, which will be featuring contemporary and traditional art from natives of the Southwest. And that's actually curated by me. Everything that you need to know is basically in the title. We're honoring our ancestors and everything that they've sacrificed and developing contemporary art and basically just injecting our identity into the modern worlds that surround us. The collection is going to be including contemporary items like skateboards, non-traditional clothing, two-dimensional paintings and drawings. There will be some pastel work and a lot of digital work. And then we'll have some traditional pottery, basketry, and even a couple of items like a Navajo cradle board. So really it's just the narrative of like we're here, we've been here, and we're here today, and we will be here in the future. And we inject like I said earlier, we inject our identity through the different mediums and basically just make them our own. We're actually going to have Chef Nella. She's a Navajo from Phoenix, and she's going to be crafting a menu for a private artist reception on Friday. October 10th. And all my artists will be there. Or not all of them, but most of them will be there, and to where you can meet and really get to see the opening of the exhibit. And then the following day on Saturday, which is October 11th, we'll have a vendor market. So we'll have some of those artists will be there vending, and then we'll have other vendors there. I'll have a fry bread truck. I'm going to have a couple other food trucks there. And then we're going to have traditional teachings from Paulita Whitesinger. She's from Tuba City. And we're going to have hoop dancers and really just a bunch of different things like raffle prizes and sharing the kickoff with the campaign of the Cultural Center, the new building, and celebrating who we are as Indigenous people today, thanks to everything that our ancestors have done and how we can continue to fight and retain our identity through all forms of art.
I'm always been interested in curating. Is curating a lot harder than it sounds?
I do have some experience when I worked. I did a lot of volunteer stuff for some galleries out in Phoenix when I lived there. And curating is definitely a challenge. A lot of people want to have their own narrative, or when you share the theme with them, sometimes they don't always, go with the theme. And in some cases, you go after certain artists, right? There's certain people that you want to have, and to be honest, you want a big heavy hitter too, to draw in other crowds as well, to kind of use that entourage, if you will. So there's a lot of different facets to being a curator. It's definitely one of the most challenging things I've done, and then also just getting people to respect your deadlines and understanding why, and the registration forms, and putting together all the behind the scene things that really just makes the show come together. That's probably the biggest challenge, and I'm happy to help you curate your first show if you ever want help with it.
It sounds like it's a labor of love, though. Like, you're super passionate, and you really, obviously you care because you volunteered there, and now you're doing all these great things, and you're bringing all these voices to the table. So you're going to be building, or you're raising funds for the Cultural Center. So you said you have 3 buildings, right? Is this going to be a new building, or is it just going to be renovating one of the buildings? And what's going to happen in the Cultural Center?
So there's 3 buildings on campus. 2 of them, the original and the museum, we can't touch those, right? Those are from the Preservation Society. And so there's a building in the middle, and right now it houses us as the administrative staff. And we want to tear that down, and we're basically going to rebuild a 2-story building, so that way there's easier access for the handicap. There's going to be exhibits on the first floor and the second floor. It'll actually have administrative offices because right now it's just kind of a big open floor that we all share. And we'll have rotating exhibits there where we can do smaller things. Like one of the things I want to do is I want to start getting the youth exhibits going, especially with the surrounding areas of all the Native kids in the Prescott Quad City area. And then also just introducing more of our collection that's really just in the basement right now, so to speak. So it's going to be doing a lot of things. We'll have conference rooms. We'll have an area to do teachings and more demonstrations, and just more square footage for activation, for dancing, for teaching. And for me personally, it's a personal passion project to help develop a building that'll be there for the next 100 years, but not just a building. It's a platform to grow, to develop legacy for all Indigenous people, not just the Southwest. Creating a safe space for all Native people is something that kind of lacks in the Central Arizona area. We have a herd in the South, and we have the Arizona Museum, the Northern Arizona Museum in Flagstaff. And so I see it as an opportunity to be the Central Arizona hub for all Indigenous people. And I don't know, I take a lot of pride in that, and being part of that chapter, and leaving the world in somewhat of a better place, especially for Indigenous voices. I share my idea with fundraising.
Yeah. So what are you planning to do?
So I have this idea where I personally give money every quarter to GoFundMe pages just as my way to, help the community. And I thought, well, what if I were to reverse that? What if I could get someone to donate $25 every quarter? That's only $100 a year, right? Now, what if I were to amplify that to 10,000? So I'm calling it the 10,000 Club. If I can get 10,000 businesses, families, people, entrepreneurs, philanthropists, if I can get 10,000 people to donate $100 from the Southwest, then the building is really funded by the people for the people. And so what we do is we take a percentage of that and then we reinvest it into creating another event for the people. And then we continue working off that donation campaign to really create the cultural center for anyone and everyone. Because what I've seen in my experience is that some philanthropists will come in with a bunch of money, and then they want their name on it, and there's a lot of stipulations that come with it. And I don't want that. I think it should be fair for the cultural center to be not just for Native people, but for non-Natives to understand and get the correct education given by us. So again, 10,000 people, $100 within a year, $25 every quarter. That would give us $1 million, and we would just keep going every year until we get to the 10 million to rebuild.
I think that seems pretty doable.
Yeah. I mean, if people could, if fund, the thing is, I don't want GoFundMe to take 30,000 of it. I want that
Right.
as much as I can to be going to the museum. And so we already have a Patreon that I set up, and we have a donation page on our website. So there are ways to do it. It's just really getting the word out there, just letting people know that, hey, we're here, we exist, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and we want to expand. We want to create a better platform, a bigger platform for Native people. And if I can give you a teaser, I would love to come back early 2026 for a really, really big event that we're going to be doing.
Definitely come back on. But I even think, you said you're having the dinner October 10th with Danella. What a great time to start. I assume you're going to start talking about your fundraising there, the cultural center, your plans at that dinner.
Yeah, correct. So it's basically just saying, hey, look, you're going to be having an intimate dinner with my artists that I've handpicked. I literally just came back from Swaya, meeting, greeting, and shaking hands, and just giving people the flyer, because I want fresh faces. I want the newest faces. I want to let the artists know that we exist, but also the people know that we can get fresh blood and fresh art in here. And it's a celebration of that, because now I can bring you this art for people who can't go to Santa Fe or can't go to the Heard Museum or any of those places. But it's a celebration with my artists and also with indigenous cuisine. So it's a full experience. After we have dinner with Chef Danella, the idea is to have dessert in the museum, and everyone gets to see the exhibit firsthand.
Boy, I would love to be there. We have our open house the next day, so I won't be there, but I would love to be there. It sounds like amazing. Do you have a favorite story about how the museum has touched the community or made a difference? Obviously, you're passionate, and I know this has changed your life, and this is your passion, your work, your life. Do you have anything you could tell me kind of quickly that how it's touched the community or made a difference?
When I was a boy with my grandmother, this place was so negative. I heard so many bad things about it. And the current director, Manny Lucero, he's done such an amazing job with being the second Indigenous director of that, creating granting and programming and funding. I mean, that's how I got involved in the first place. I was invited to be a guest artist because we met at powwow when I was dancing, and I just thought it was a great opportunity. And then I saw the museum for what it was and not what it was when I was a little boy. So just seeing the narrative shift, seeing this underdog story developing and transforming the narrative, it's just, I mean, how could you not just root for us, but also just how could you not want to learn more and get involved? I don't know. For me, I absolutely love it. And I just really appreciate what Manuel has done for the museum since he's taken it over, and since the new name change too.
Well, I think it sounds amazing. All right, so I know you've got a couple events planned. You mentioned those. You've mentioned the October 10th, the 11th, and then the new Red Spirit coming out. So, Dustin, can you tell me what are the hours of the museum? Where are you located? And anything else, any other pertinent information?
Yeah, so we're in 147 North Arizona Avenue. It's in Prescott, Arizona. Zip code is 86301. And we're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 4, typically. And the admission prices vary, but for all MIP members, Native Americans with a tribal ID, there's no cost for that. Children 0 to 12 are also no cost. So, yeah, but we're also open during different special events. So make sure to check out museumofIndigenousPeople.org, and you can check out all of our special events that are coming up.
It sounds awesome. I mean, I can't wait. I would love to get back to Prescott and go visit. So I wanted to find out, do you have social media? And if so, what is your handle? What are the handles?
Yeah, so the social media for the museum is Museum of Indigenous People. That's on Facebook and Instagram. I just started a TikTok, which is MIP Arizona. That's MIP. My personal one is Dustin Lopez, DUS10 LOPEZ. And then you could also, under my curation name, it's Dopez Creates, and that's on Instagram. So.
And then again, can you give us the website of the Museum of Indigenous People?
Yeah, it's museumofIndigenousPeople.org.
I so appreciate your time, and I think the things that you've got planned. Res Dog sounds amazing. Since I love dogs, I'd love to go see that. But Red Spirit and your contemporary art also sounds amazing. I think you're doing what a tremendous job, and obviously, I really think you sound so passionate about this, and I know it's going to be successful, and you're going to get your cultural center before you know it. But thanks for taking time to come on today. Tell us about your background, your history, and the Museum of Indigenous People in Prescott.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Coming up next on Native Talk Arizona, Susan Levy chats with Erickson Billy, owner and operator of Blue Nada Suites. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 8800 North 22nd Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org.
Get ready, Arizona. The Bob Marley Experience is coming to the Mesa Arts Center on Saturday, September 27th at 7 p.m. A high-energy tribute to the music and spirit of Bob Marley live on stage. It's a fundraiser for your community station KRDP 90.7 FM. Tickets are available at the Mesa Arts Center box office. For more information, call 480-644-6500. One love, one night only. Don't miss this chance to financially support KRDP Community Radio.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy. In the studio with us today is Erickson Billy, owner and operator of Blue Nada Suites. He's not just serving up sweet and delicious treats, but also giving a nod to his Navajo heritage. Erickson, welcome to Native Talk Arizona.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. Thank you for having me on here today. Appreciate it.
Super excited, and I know you made a long trip down here and had a lot of traffic, but I'm glad you made it, and can't wait to learn more about what you've been up to, because I'm watching you on social media, and I know you're doing a lot of cool stuff. But before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Well, first of all, I want to express my appreciation for the opportunity to come here today. It was definitely an adventure to come down here, some road closures and everything, but it's always exciting to come back to Native Health. My name is Erickson Billy. Dona e nishlinigi e twitich ini nishlon kia ani bashichin tsetnajini dashiche do ashin dashinele. I am Navajo, originally from Window Rock, Arizona, and I'm actually located in Window Rock at this time.
Oh.
When I had started Blue Knot Dot Sweets, which was back in 2020, I was working out of Chandler. So it's exciting because it's part of my marketing strategy as far as, taking myself back home and kind of starting from there again, because I need to start gravitating towards New Mexico and Utah, and expanding is what I'm working on right now. So expansion as far as clientele and the different
things you're doing. Okay. All right. So what have you been doing since you were last on? I mean, it's been years. So what have you, obviously you've moved, and I also saw you're hosting, which I'm jumping way ahead, but you're hosting the fry bread contest for the Navajo Nation Fair, right?
Yes, I am.
I know I'm jumping way ahead, but I thought that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, so a lot has happened within the last few years. As far as expanding my business, I now have a mentor that I'm working with, and I'm proud to say that it's a very well-known business who's allowing me to work with them and kind of just get an insight on how to expand my product. So I'm working on expansion. I've kind of stepped up as far as marketing, advertising for my business. So within the last few years, I've gone from probably one mix now going into my fourth mix as far as my home collection for my cupcake mix, my cookie mix, my pancake mix, and now working on a blue corn fry bread mix.
Okay, that's the contest. Okay, so let's start back with number one was the cupcake mix, right?
Yes.
Okay, blue corn cupcakes?
The blue corn cupcake mix, that was actually the first one.
Okay.
And then I went right into the cookie mix.
Which is blue corn?
Which is a blue corn cookie mix, and then followed by the blue corn pancake mix.
Okay. And they're all, which is the best seller, or can I not ask that?
The best seller is probably going to be the blue corn pancake mix.
Really?
Across the board. Here down in the valley and up there on the reservation. I think a lot of people are really familiar with that already. So what they're familiar with already is what they're going to gravitate towards. So the blue corn pancake mix is probably something is one of my popular items when it comes to the mixes. As far as the pastries, it's even between the cupcakes and the cookies. Most of the time when I don't have cupcakes, people are asking for cupcakes, vice versa. So I guess that's just how it works. But people have their favorites.
It's kind of like hair, right? You have curly hair, you want straight hair. You have straight hair, you want curly hair.
Right.
Okay, just saying. All right. So, but are you still baking?
I still bake.
Okay.
Yeah, and I still participate in markets.
Okay.
Very few down here in the valley, but as much as I can, I try to come back down here. Because this is where it all started. It did start here in the valley. My target audience at the time was urban natives.
Right.
And I got that out of the way because they gravitated towards Blue Knot Dot Sweets like nothing, and I appreciate that. So what I'm working on is going back home onto the reservation. There, I need to kind of expand my business and let them know that I'm here. And so far, it's been a process, and so far it's been successful. Yeah.
So the blue corn fry bread mix is your new one.
It's currently
it's out, right? Or not out yet?
It's not out yet.
Okay.
The exciting thing about that too is that the blue corn fry bread mix, the recipe was actually finalized 2 nights ago.
Oh.
So we got that all done and taken care of. Now the packaging is in production. So once the packaging is prepared, we'll start making the mixes, and then.
So you do the mixing yourself?
I do all the mixing for now.
Oh my gosh, that's like a lot of work, isn't it?
It's definitely a lot of work, but I'm looking forward to that day to when we get into a warehouse, into a distribution center, and start having production happen there. And I feel like that's when it's going to really take off.
Do you do the distribution of the other ones?
I do.
Or the fulfilling
the orders?
That's
yes,
like
I do.
A lot of work.
It is, because the crazy thing is, now that I've done a lot of marketing on the reservation, I do have a lot of entities, programs, organizations who have reached out to me and who order in bulk order.
That's a lot.
So
you're working 7 days a week.
I'm working 7 days a week, yeah. And sometimes if I can get my family in on it, they'll help me. But most of the time I try to keep things just for myself, only because I like for things to be precise, and everything about my business, the presentation, it needs to be on point. So,
well, your stuff is beautiful, and I think that's what everybody knows about you. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you do a great job, and I can see that you'd want it absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your brand, right?
Yeah.
And that's you. You want it to be right.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you get interested in baking?
So first of all, I wasn't interested in baking. I enjoyed baking, but it wasn't a hobby. Baking only happened when I was bored, or when I needed to do something and nothing, or when I couldn't sleep at night. I'll go into the kitchen and I'll bake some brownies or cupcakes, but I would prefer cooking over baking.
Oh, so savory over sweet? Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right.
Only because it just all comes back to expressing myself. I feel like I can express myself a lot more through different types of food, as of where I'm baking, you're very limited on baking. I guess that's a good way to explain it, but yeah.
All right. Okay. So then how did you come up with the name Blue Nada Sweets?
So Blue Nada Sweets, the reason why a lot of people ask me that question, and that is a good question, because like I said, the business originated when I was located here in Chandler, and at the time my target audience was urban native. I still wanted to implement my culture and my tradition into my business, and I had to find a clever way to come up with that. So I kind of figured, what will separate me from all the indigenous tribes here in Arizona? And that's going to be my language, and how we spell certain words and how we pronounce certain words. So I figured if I threw that one Navajo word in there, Blue Nadant Sweets, in translation, it's blue corn sweets.
Okay.
So when I came up with that, it kind of represented being an urban native, living in two different worlds. You have your English side and you have your traditional side. So kind of just incorporating both languages into one. So that's where the creativity came in, as far as coming up with my business name.
So your business has just like exploded, though. Do you find that up at Navajo that the same, I know here you were extremely popular in the Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Do you find it's the same up there?
No.
It's totally, you have to work harder?
I have to work harder and faster, only because now everyone is selling blue corn cookies and blue corn cupcakes. When you go to the flea markets or to the markets, everyone has it now. I don't consider it competition, because I know my brand and I know what I bring to the table. But in the very beginning, my business did explode, and when it did, it expanded so fast that I couldn't keep up. 5 years later, I still can't keep up. I still haven't brought on anyone onto my team to help me keep up. So that's where I feel like I'm lacking a lot of, I'm missing out on a lot of opportunities, because I'm still a one-person team.
And you need more help.
And I need more help.
Right, because you can't do it all.
Yeah.
You can't work more than, 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah, and then it comes back to just me wanting to do everything all myself.
And being perfect. I get that. And I didn't ask, I know you said you would like to bake brownies in the middle of the night, but did you ever go to school? Like, are you classically trained, or just a home chef that has just kind of elevated?
Everything is self-taught.
Okay.
Again, it just all goes back home. Watching my grandparents cook, my parents cook. So kind of just picking things up there along the way, and just kind of bringing it all together at the end to create something that I will enjoy, or something that the people will enjoy. But my profession is actually in healthcare administration. So I'm coming from a completely different background into a different field as far as profession goes.
Okay, so we have the blue corn cupcakes, the cookies,
the pancakes,
which is your bestseller. Mm-hmm. But then now you're going to be doing the blue corn fry bread.
The blue corn fry bread.
So how is this different? I saw that again, that you're doing the fry bread contest at the Navajo Nation Fair.
I am coordinating the fry bread contest during the Navajo Nation Fair, and me taking part in that area is also allowing me to release a new product. on behalf of my business. So
good marketing.
And that's going to be the blue corn fry bread. And that's funny you say that too, because I've had a lot of other entrepreneurs reach out to me and said, you know what, that's some good marketing right there.
That is some very good marketing. I saw it and I'm like, wow, that's a great thing that you did.
Yeah.
So are they going to be using your product, or are you just using it as a marketing tool?
I'm just using it as a marketing tool, but it's also going to be a time for me to launch that product. But what the space that I'm providing during that competition is allowing people to come in and show me how they do their blue corn fry bread. Is it similar to how I prepare mines? Because everyone comes from a different area, from a different place, taught different ways on how to prepare food. So that's where the competition comes into play.
God, how awesome is that going to be?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So how are you envisioning with this new product? What are the toppings? Are you thinking of toppings, or are you thinking just the fry bread?
Just the fry bread.
Okay.
But on the packaging, there will be recommendations for toppings for.
And what would yours be?
For toppings?
Yeah. Sorry, I haven't had lunch yet. I'm sitting here thinking I know what I'd want.
So it's good that you asked that question, because I didn't know how to think outside the box. It was just always fry bread and honey for me. Now I'm able to say, you know what, you can put this on there, you can put that on there. You know, my favorite
what would
thing,
you put on there?
Nutella.
Okay. All right, so you're a chocolate person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nutella, maybe even some bananas, some fresh fruits. The same thing applies to the blue corn mush.
Right.
Fresh fruits, yeah. So
see, I was thinking more like peaches, whipped cream.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Have you heard of the spicy honey, the hot honey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Mike's hot honey. Yeah, I like that. That actually that would be great. Like peaches and like a hot honey.
Like a hot honey, yeah. So I was at a market a couple weeks ago, and there was a business there, and the gal, she was selling pizza, and the vegetables that she was growing is from her own garden, and she's selling the pizza on a blue corn crust, and she drizzled it in hot honey. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Erickson, I have to ask you, what's your favorite recipe? Savory or sweet?
Savory.
Okay, and what recipe is that?
It would have to be the cookie. I'm more of the cookie person.
But it's savory? It's a savory cookie?
Yeah.
What's in the cookie?
Well,
without telling me anything I shouldn't know.
There's a lot more ingredients that go into the cookie compared to the cupcake, to the pancake. Now, can I stop real quick? Are you asking me my favorite recipe?
So, Erickson, do you have a favorite recipe, either sweet or savory? Doesn't have to be yours or like one of your products, just like something that you love, reminds you of home and your family and comfort and love.
Comfort food, something that takes me right back to home, is going to be something savory, and that's a combination of corn, squash, potatoes, and ground beef. And if you can eat that with some hot tortilla, it'll hit the spot all the way across.
Okay, corn, squash,
potatoes, and ground beef.
Okay. And what kind of sauce? Or you just mix it all together?
Just mix it all together. Cook it all together in some oil. Oh, that taste, or that, it's a good dish.
That's what your mom makes, or your family?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I've never really made that dish until probably a few years ago. The only place I would have it would be at my mom's or at my grandma's. But once I realized, I can cook a lot of these things on my own now, and so going into the kitchen and creating that myself, it's still good. And it's funny too, because you know how a lot of people say, when you cook it, it's not good, but when someone else cooks it, it's good.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true, but I take a lot of pride in my cooking, and sometimes I can cook a good dish.
Well, you're just an amazing chef. Okay, so after you do the blue corn fry bread, what's your next step? What do you think you're going to do? Are you going to actually jump into something savory, like a savory mix, or?
So that blue corn fry bread mix kind of just jumped in front of some other products that I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to get a gluten-free product out there. I do have a lot of clientels who are gluten-free, and they always ask me every single time, hey, do you have anything that's gluten-free? Blue corn is already gluten-free, but having to bake something or having to create something with just blue corn, the product's going to come out very dense, very dry.
Crumbly.
And that's something that I kind of have to explain to them. And they're like, no, that's fine. And I'm like, but it's not.
Because how would you do it? Because it's just going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So then you're going to try something gluten-free. All
Yeah.
right.
Gluten-free, or coming from a place where diabetes is an issue, I need to create something that's a lot more friendlier for individuals who are diabetic, or who are more safety, or who are more
Like health conscious.
health conscious. There you go.
Yeah.
So,
But that's a tough one. How do you, but I guess, whether you do, I don't know, some of the dumplings
Substitute
or
sugars,
things like that.
yeah. So it's right after the blue corn fibered mix, I have to jump right back into creating something for my other group of people who want something that they can create at home for themselves, gluten-free or sugar-free.
What did we just, we just made something here, the blue corn cobbler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by using some fresh fruit. But it's always a challenge. But definitely, I always love the way your products look and the frosting and things like that. I think it's always so pretty.
Yeah, and I take pride in that.
Color.
I really do appreciate a lot of the feedback that I do get back, because one thing, even when it comes to the cupcake, I like to make sure that the whipped topping goes directly with the cupcake, and the taste blends just perfectly. So I think I've managed to create a product, and a lot of people will ask for that recipe. Can I have your recipe for your topping? And that's just one thing I don't give out.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't spill all your secrets.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask, for our listeners that aren't familiar, do you put juniper ash in your blue corn?
Juniper ash goes in all my products.
Okay. So can you tell, for people that don't know, what is juniper ash, how is it made, and why is it important? And the nutritional value, if you know.
Juniper ash actually has a lot of nutritional values as far as magnesium, iron, calcium. So it's definitely good for the bones. It's actually a traditional medicine as well, where you can just take it directly, the juniper ash, and just dip your finger right in it and put it right into your mouth. So there's some traditional aspects as well as far as juniper ash. It is coming from a juniper tree, and how it is created is you go out and clip a few branches from the juniper tree while it's still fresh, and then you take it back to your home, and then you build a little fire. On that little fire that you build, you're adding those branches little by little. Now you don't want it too big, because you don't want to get the fire to get out of hand, but it does create a lot of smoke, and it's going to create the ash. So you need a bowl right under that, right near the fire, so that when the ash drops, it's dropping into that bowl. So how we do ours is we'll go out, and the large black bags will come back home with probably like 5 to 6 bags full of juniper tree. We'll come home and we'll burn all that. My mom will have an area. I will have an area. If my grandma wants to help, she'll help, and she'll have her own area. And we'll just burn that juniper tree to create that juniper ash. And then we also have my paternal side of the family, my uncle and his wife, who also burn a lot of juniper ash, and they can create more than we can. And they're my vendors when it comes to juniper ash, because again, it just goes into all my products. All the mixes, all the pastries, they all have juniper ash. And what the role that juniper ash plays is it has a chemical reaction with the blue corn that enhances the color. So when you're baking with blue corn, you'll see the difference. When someone creates something without juniper ash, it has a more grayish, whitish color compared to a product or a dish that has juniper ash. The blue corn will be blue, will present a more darker gray color, bluish color. So you're able to distinguish the difference, and the taste too. The taste is, you'll know when it doesn't have juniper ash.
So for people that live across the country that listen, and there's quite a few, I know that you're going to tell us where we can get your products. And if they wanted to buy juniper ash, there are places, I believe, where you can buy them, right? From either, I want to say there was a trading post in New Mexico.
So I'm sure a lot of the trading posts near the reservation and on the reservation probably have juniper ash. They can find it at local markets on the reservation as well, because they sell it there. I also sell juniper ash, and the very unique thing about juniper ash, and you say across the country, is I do have quite a few people that order juniper ash from me regularly because they put it on their food.
Right, and you can't find it in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
And people are always asking us, same thing, like, where do you get juniper ash?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you sold juniper ash. Okay.
Yeah, I do sell juniper ash, and I'll go back to these clients and I'll ask them, what are you using juniper ash in Texas, in New York?
Yeah.
What are you doing with it? And they tell me, we put it in our barbecue sauce.
Oh,
we use it as a dry rub for our ribs. So people get creative, and I think it has to do a lot with the taste and the texture.
So Erickson, we've talked about like so many great things. I'm going to dream about, I'm telling you, blue corn fry bread tonight except I'm going to go with the peaches and the hot honey. But do you have any intention or ideas or plans to come back to the Valley?
I do. The Valley's going to be the first place I want to expand. If I'm going to open a storefront, it's going to happen here in the Valley. It's either the storefront or a distribution center. The only reason why I say that is because I still want to have that face-to-face interaction with my clients, with my people, with those who follow Blue Nadant Sweets. That's going to be the storefront. But if I also want my product to be on store shelves, not just here in Arizona, but across America and in other stores, then I would need to have a distribution center.
Is your stuff sold? Like, do you sell it on other platforms like Amazon or
it is not
Etsy or any of that?
It's not. But Bashes did reach out to me.
Huh?
And Bashes is my mentor. So
that's very cool.
So Bashes wants my product on their shelves. Deneb Bashes here in the city, Food City, and
right, all the Bashes stores like AJ's and
AJ's.
The whole line.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
So that's another. That's where the motivation came in when Bashes reached out, or when Bashes kind of confirmed with me, like, hey, we want to get your product on the shelf. How can we make this happen? That's when I went full on mixes, because before it was just all pastries. My markets consist of nothing but pastries. Now that I'm getting direction in which way to go and what works best, where I'm more focused on creating a product that people can create themselves in their own home, not just locally, but internationally.
That would be great. That would be awesome. So is it harder? I know you touched on this a little bit before. Is it different or harder or easier or better to do business on the res versus the city? I mean, do you find it's easier down here, just proximity to things that you can get in the car and go 2 minutes to, Bashes or wherever you need to go? Or is it just the stress? I don't know. What do you think is easier or better? I don't know.
Everything is easier and faster here in the city. Like you said, you can just drive right down the road to pick up some more ingredients, head on over to a store to get more product, more supplies. Whereas living on the reservation, I have to make those trips to local border towns and buy those supplies and make sure that I'm fully stocked so that I can create the product in such a rural, desolate area compared to the city. One thing that I like to brag about is here in the Valley, during markets, I'll sell out within an hour to 2 hours. And that's 2 times the inventory that I'll create on the reservation, where it takes me 7 to 8 hours to sell out. I still sell out, it still happens, but it takes me a little bit longer.
So we're pretty much out of time. It has been an absolute pleasure. You've given me a lot of food for thought, pun intended. And how can our listeners find out more information about Blue Nadant Sweets, your products, and how can they contact you?
So right now you can find Blue Nadant Sweets on all social media platforms.
Can you spell that?
Blue Nadant Sweets, BLUENAADAA Sweets, SWEETS, Blue Nadant Sweets.
.com.
So the website is down right now only because I can't keep up. We're entering into fair season. Yeah. So because we're in fair season, that I need to be, my attention needs to be out there, and I can't be packaging packages, sending out packages. It's a lot harder. But you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Blue Nadant Sweets and shoot me a message there.
Okay. And you're going to be at all the fairs, I take it?
I'll definitely be at the Navajo Nation Fair, and I'm going to see if I'm going to be at the Western Agency Fair in Tuba City, but I'll be at the Shiprock Fair at the Northern Agency Fair.
Well, it has been a pleasure catching up with you. I'm glad you came down. I'm sorry the traffic was horrible.
Oh, no,
but
had a great time.
It's always a pleasure talking to you. Now I can go home dreaming. I swear, you guys, I'm going to dream about the blue corn fry bread with the peaches and the hot honey and the whipped cream. Thanks, Erickson. It's always a pleasure, and see you soon.
Thank you, Susan. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listen2krdp.com.